Hey everyone, my name is Zoran Saher and I have the wonderfully talented Radhika Madan on Urban Asian. Thank you so much for joining me, Radhika.
Thank you so much.
Not at all, it's a pleasure. Radhika, you just kind of had a massive success, a Sarfira, featuring you and Akshay Kumar. Tell me, what does it feel like having this kind of a blockbuster success with your name on it?
I'm like really, really grateful. I
Right.
feel overwhelmed. A lot of love pouring in, and yeah, I'm really happy and also motivated to work even harder.
Mm, well, I mean, most simply put, and I think the best way to put it, you've also had a very, very big hit last year that's come out, Sana, and I think it's been internationally critically acclaimed in various different film festivals, and I think it is obviously a bit more of a hard-hitting subject. And I'm sure as an actor, as a performer, as an artist, it's taken out a lot from you to kind of give that role everything you've got. Tell me a little bit about the kind of craft that went into kind of portraying Sana on screen.
Oh, it completely changed me as a human being and as an actor.
Right.
Uh, I think it was because of my director Sudhanshu. He just challenged me on every level, on
Sure.
every level. So he didn't make things easy for me. Like whenever I was in my comfort zone, he used to just push the boundary a little more away.
Right.
So yeah, it did take a lot out of me. I was in a really dark space after I finished Sana, and then Rani came to me
Yeah.
uh, as a breath of fresh air, uh, with a spunk and fire and clarity and you know rebelliousness, and she just got me out of that zone, pulled
True.
me out of that zone, and actually reminded me of who I was, who I had forgotten.
Mm.
So I think these two projects, it must be written because I don't think any other character would have pulled me out of Sana.
Sure.
Uh, it was just Rani.
Yeah. Yeah. You just mentioned something very interesting about sort of how sometimes just effortlessly, perhaps just by virtue of being an actor or an artist, things happen, and they happen for the better, sometimes for the worse, and sometimes they happen just out of beyond your control.
Right.
Do you sort of think as an actor that is the best way to kind of approach a certain kind of a script? Because sometimes, when you read a script for the very first time, you sort of can't kind of connect to it as against what it is like when it's once it's out, and very often filmmakers always talk about when it's on paper, it's a very different story to what the audience watches it as. Have you ever come across that kind of a sort of scenario in life where very different from when you first read it to what it actually the finished product looked like?
Every project,
Mm,
every single project.
yeah,
It's never what you read on paper because
true.
the environment is different. You play on your co-actor. Uh, the editor can change the film. So many factors are involved.
Yeah,
So I think you just need to believe in the soul of the script, somehow recognize the soul, and then also just leave it. You actually you can't predict. You can't
yeah,
predict.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
you
Go with
sign on the soul of the film.
yeah,
It
yeah,
can
yeah.
come out. It might not come out. It's
True.
a gamble that you take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think apart from your sort of national acclaims and recognitions, you've also got some incredible international recognitions. You've also sort of been conferred and featured in Forbes India rather, with the 30 under 30. Tell me a bit about that. I mean, obviously Forbes is always something which a lot of us look at as the benchmark of a kind of
Mhm.
recognition on a global stage. When you got that call, when you sort of were told that you being, conferred with that kind of an honor, what did it feel like personally?
Oh, I felt really honored.
Mm,
It's so weird because uh, last year I did get into Forbes, and I was the youngest jury member at the Emmys,
correct.
and these were the two things that I could have never imagined in my life. Like of course I write my goals and everything, but
Right.
I not dreamt that big. I was like, hey, I did two projects a year, working with this director, earning this much. So
Yeah.
it's always that. It wasn't
Yeah.
like really Forbes. And I
True.
think my father was more impressed. My mother was impressed when I got the Filmfare cover.
different aspects of achievements.
And my
If
father was like,
people
"Do you
happy.
understand what this means?" And my mother was like, "But filmfare, she looked very beautiful on the filmfare cover." So like, okay, so I need to cater to
Mothers are the
both the
same, aren't
audiences
they?
at home.
True.
So yeah, I'm extremely
Yeah.
honored, and I was just uh, I was full of gratitude. Yeah. I'm still
Mm.
in gratitude. Like every day I wake up and I'm like, am I like, have I actually reached this place in my life? I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't sink in. I wish it could sink in more. I wish I could just. It sinks in when I see myself on the big screen when when credits come and I read my name. It sinks in. Then that's when I start crying.
Sure.
But I wish I could feel it every day that where I've reached because I'm like, hey, I need to do this. I need to work on this. What's next? And I need to break myself and then rebuild myself. And what am I doing? What films I'm watching? I'm just constantly working on myself so much
Yeah.
that I forget to live it.
Yeah.
And that's why I like going to Delhi because my family reminds me that, hey, you've already reached here. We're happy.
Yeah.
We're happy. We never thought that we were going to reach here.
An overachieving factor of life, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
when I'm like reminded that I take a pause and I'm like, okay, let's celebrate this and not feel guilty about
True. I mean,
it.
no reason to feel guilty at all. But Radhika, you mentioned also being the youngest jury member at the Emmys.
Yeah.
The Emmys for years are something that I've obviously grown up watching. A lot of us across the world aspire to sort of once in a lifetime. Maybe as a performing artist, I aspire to be at someday in my life, and let alone be a part of it. You've obviously been on the jury. Being a jury is an achievement in itself, very close to the Oscars, the Academy Awards. You have to run me through that process. I mean, while it was happening, what was it like? Just working with an international sort of contingent of, selecting the best.
It just opens up your mind.
Sure.
It just gives you a different perspective. So
Mm.
I've been to film festivals with my films. I know what the environment is like when you go with a film.
Yeah.
Especially with Sana. Like so I was a jury member at the Black Nights Film Festival in Tallinn.
Correct.
And right after that I was going for the Emmys.
Sure.
So luckily, like I'd been to Tallinn with Sana as well. So I went with the film and then I went there as a jury member.
Yeah.
The energies are so different.
True.
So like when you go with the film, you're very anxious. You
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to work or not, how
Mm.
people are going to perceive it, reviews, if it's going to win an award or not. Uh, but but when you go there as a jury member, and also like when you go there with the film, if it
Sure.
doesn't win an award, you take it upon yourself
Yeah.
that I didn't act right or I didn't maybe there's a problem in
It
me.
wasn't good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So when I went there as a jury member, it just opened my mind so much because the energy there was very secure. I was hanging out with people, interacting with people who had seen everything.
Yeah.
They had seen lowest of lows, highest of highs, and they were just neutral. And this is what happens. You just need to live your life. It might not work, it might work. And even when we were judging the films,
Yeah.
in a lot of films, I realized that the performances were bang on. But maybe the
Sure.
film was too long, or
Yeah.
the edit didn't make sense, or cinematography was. I just thought that there are other factors as well that influence the
Yeah.
film. It's not just one performance because actors are performing brilliantly, but we're still not choosing that film.
True.
So it just gave me a broader perspective of film viewing
Hmm.
and how things are actually selected and why you need to stand for a film. And sometimes you're like you take notes and you interact with people. The same thing happened in the at the Emmys where you need
Correct.
to stand for a particular film and you need to prove your point that why this film deserves an award.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
And those discussions are really fulfilling because
Yeah.
you discuss art in so many layers and like you see the same product in so many different lights, and it just opens you up as a human being,
Yeah.
as an actor, as an artist. So
Yeah.
I think I came out a bit more mature, I would say.
Yeah. Well, good on you for that. And I think just to
Thank
wrap
you.
things up, what's next on the cards? What are you currently working on?
So, this year I have two more releases. One is called Rumi Ki Sharafat.
Okay,
That's a comedy. That's my fifth project with Maddock.
right.
And the other film is Sana.
Yes,
That
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
which
Sana
kind
is
of
gonna come. And
correct,
and
correct.
yeah, I have signed a project which is yet to come out officially. The
Sure,
announcement needs to come out
very soon.
officially, but it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different than what I've played before. Uh,
Awesome, awesome.
Fun and yeah.
Well, thanks, Radhika, for talking to me. It was absolutely exciting and enjoyable, and wishing you all the very best for your upcoming
Thank
releases and all the exciting work
you.
you do in the future.
Ah,
Cheers.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.